Hustle culture and how it kills the soul. That's the title of today's video, and that's what I'm coming on here to talk about. Now, without going on too long, we just gonna get straight into it. Where does hustle culture stem from? Now, I'm pretty sure if you're clicking on this video, you didn't heard of hustle culture before, but you may not know where it comes from. Most people do, but just in case, I'm gonna just list a couple of points that I have um, mostly from what I think hustle culture stems from. And yes, if you do see me looking to the side, I do have notes slash, a script written down to better overall get across the point that I'm trying to make in this video. Now, like I said, the question, where does hustle culture stem from? Now, I feel like this just stems from mostly modern society, mostly Gen Z. you know, I don't know the whole like the years or whatever you would be considered to be Gen Z, but just the modern generation to put it in the short terms, right? So you have TikTok, social media in general, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever you name it. Most social media in general, you're gonna see the term hustle culture come up or just see forms of it, through posts and stuff like that. You can also see this happen from the workspace. Whatever job that may be. Fast food, retail, hard labor, office job, communications, whatever it may be. It's most commonly going to be known and seen within the workspace because the whole notion behind hustle culture is to pretty much work into the complete point of exhaustion in order to reach the definition of success that you think is obtainable and the definition of success that you feel like is the true definition or the true meaning of success, or what that specific workplace deems as success, whether that means moving up into a better position, whatever it may be. But this is most commonly where you're going to see the notion of hustle culture come up, just in general day to day life. And this can also come from your family and friends, you know what I mean? And this is not to say, your family and friends is wrong about you wanting to, you know, work harder to achieve goals and, find higher levels of success, because they just may want you to be better than them because of the prior situation that they were coming from. They want to be able to instill into you, that hard work and being able to reach for your goals, because they may not have gotten to where they wanted to get to in their life. So they just trying to, almost live vicariously through you in order to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that they do. You know, and that's not bad in the hindsight of things, but at a certain point it could become toxic and it could become overwhelming because it could become so patronizing that when you have these conversations with your friends and your family, the main thing they're bringing up is, oh, what you're going to do for work. You know what I mean? What type of job do you have? You know what I mean? Oh, that won't get you paid. Oh, you can't do that. Most people don't end up being successful in that. Just go to school, get a degree, work 40 hours a week, work until you're old and crippled. And then once you're able to get a pension, then you can retire and finally live life. You know what I mean? That's the most common conversation or notion, or the endpoint that conversation is going to get to when you're talking about, success, where you want to be in life, what you want to do in life. And like I said, this mostly comes from family and friends, whether that be friends from school, work, just in life in general. But you're going to have these conversations mostly with the people that you are closest to in life. And, what you're going to hear when you had these conversations, you know what I mean? And it could just be them, putting their insecurities onto you, kind of, putting doubt upon, what you want to do in life, and, putting so much emphasis on, one way of life, and that's the only way to go about it. So those are 4 things right there, on where hustle culture comes or stems from. Like I said, you have TikTok or social media in general. You have your workspace, wherever you may work at, and you have your family and your friends. Now that we went over that, you may be asking, okay, now that you kind of have an understanding of where hustle culture comes or stems from, what is a good general definition of what hustle culture is? Now I'm going to put the definition somewhere up in the video, or I may put it in the description below to credit that. But what I found is the definition of hustle culture is a common modern workplace environment that emphasizes hard work and long hours as the key to success. Now, like I said, most of what you're going to see or hear about hustle culture not only mostly comes from social media, but you're going to interact or see it mostly or hear it mostly in the workplace, right? In your workplace environment. And it's going to emphasize that hard work, working hard 40 hours a week, for however long of your life until, like I said, you old and crippled. You start living the life that you been wanting to live for years upon end. You know what I mean? And like I said, working those long hours in order to get to that success. Now, like I said, also, not to sound redundant, but this is just a better overall emphasis of what I was trying to get across in the question in general. You know what I mean? Working those long hours to get to the key to success. Now, everybody has their own definition, of success and what they think success is. Whether that's you, the individual, or what the company or workspace views as, success. This can become, just very toxic. You know what I mean? And I'm going to get into that in the next step, but the definition just overall better, like I said, emphasize on what I was trying to get across in the first point, right? Here is a negative that can come from hustle culture and how it affects you as an individual in life. Like I said, social media, the workplace, or with your family and friends. Now, how are you viewed if you aren't following this standard or this movement, right? If you're not trying to be a part of the masses and follow after what everybody is doing, 40 hours a week, work till you're old and crippled, retire, get a pension, and then finally start to live life. Now, shouldn't be too hard to think, but, you're going to be viewed as lazy, or you don't have no ambition or drive, or you don't aspire to be anything in life, right? Just because you don't want to fit into the norms of society and how they view how you need to work in order to live a successful and happy life. You know what I mean? Now, in a sense, this can be true. Laziness can be viewed as a bad thing. Laziness can be viewed as a good thing also. You know what I mean? But just because you're not trying to be, the same as everybody else and how they think that, work culture should be, and how, you should work in order to get to the level of success and then finally live life, doesn't necessarily make you lazy. You know what I mean? But most people feel like that if you're not a part of this, then that's what you are. You're just lazy and that you have no drive, no ambition, and that, you're not grateful for the situation that you're in, or you're not grateful for the sacrifices that previous generations made for you to, live the way that you do now. Now, I just want to go on a little bit, deeper into the overall notion of laziness, right? Now, I'm going to put in the definition. I'll put it up somewhere here too. Laziness, the quality of being unwilling to work or use energy, aka, or in better words, idleness, stagnation, just not really doing nothing, right? Now, me reading that, you may think that that's a bad thing, but mostly it's up to you to determine it, right? Now, laziness can be bad if most of your day or most of your life is notion or contrived to that. You know what I mean? Not really doing nothing, just laying around, scrolling endlessly, not trying to work or, reach towards anything in life, right? But also, I feel like you can actually use it too in a good way, and that you actually need it in order to save yourself from, running into burnout and stressing yourself out. Because with this laziness, that could spark, boredom, and boredom could spark, thoughts, and thoughts spark actions, and you know what I mean? You see how it can pile up in order to, forward you into something while you're in that, quote unquote, laziness, or, actually being lazy. That can actually transpire something good to happen and something positive to happen out of that, right? Now, I just want to make a quick disclaimer in the middle of this video too. Now, I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with, aspiring to reach goals and working hard to reach goals and working hard to reach the success that, you deem is successful. You know what I mean? The definition of your own success. There's nothing wrong with working hard to achieve that. But at a certain point, it can become too toxic. And this is where I lead into why it can become toxic, right? Why can hustle culture be negative or bad? One, it can give you less time to actually live life and enjoy the simple things and the fruits of labor of life. Two, it could cause strain to your physical and mental health. And three, it can cause overthinking. Now, I'm going to break all those three things down into smaller bullet points in order to better get an understanding of where I'm trying to come at with them, right? Now, with the time aspect, right? Like I said, you have less time to actually live life. So, for instance, say it comes to family. You have less time to spend time with family, enjoy simple activities, whether that be watching movies, playing board games, sitting down to eat dinner, you know what I mean, going to baseball games, going to football games, just spending time with family in general, right? Because, like I said, when you work, no breaks, no days off. You keep working until you have calluses on your hands and you can't even do anything anymore. You know what I mean? You're in that notion when you're going by that this overall, notion. I don't know what I try to think of a different word to come up with, but when you're going by and living by this overall notion, you're going to be working so hard and, working such long hours that you wouldn't have time to spend with family, right? And another thing, and this can just be with yourself or with family too, you know what I mean? Having time to do the hobbies you do, excuse me. Whether that be drawing, playing basketball, going on bike rides, going for a walk, playing video games, reading manga, reading books, going shopping, anything like that, going for a picnic, anything like that, it's going to take away from that because you're spending so much time only focusing on work. So that's the first point. Less time to actually live life. That's the time aspect. Now we have the strain or, physical and mental health aspect, right? When you're working so hard, how are you going to be able to get any sleep, right? Most people love, to bring up the idea of no sleep. You know what I mean? This comes from social media, family. You get it. You know what I mean? Just overall life in general, right? Ask yourself that question. If you want to work so hard in order to reach your goals and you want to be able to put so many hours into it, what about the sleep aspect? What about you getting sleep, right? You need sleep in order to work those long hours, right? You could get off maybe getting 1 or 2 hours of sleep every couple nights to, get further towards the goal that you want to get to. But going down the line 5, 10, maybe even earlier than that, you're going to start to see those effects happen on your body and your mental health. You know what I mean? Your brain. You're going to start to see those effects come up later on down the line because you're skipping out on sleep, skipping out on rest in order to reach towards getting those goals, quicker and quicker. And that's not gonna be good. That's not gonna be, in the end, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Because you need that sleep in order to have the cognitive that word hard to say. Cognitive functions, you know what I mean, in order for you to think clearly, in order for you to speak clearly, in order for you to comprehend and understand things, right? You're going to need that sleep in order to help, you know, be able to do your work in a better and more efficient way. But most people just blow it off to the side because they feel like if they are able to skip out on getting no sleep, that they're going to be able to reach towards their goals, quicker and faster, which is true. But like I said, 5, 10 years down the line, you're going to start to see those effects have a negative, effect on your mental and physical health. Another aspect of the strains of hustle culture is bad nutrition, right? When you start working so hard, you're going to bring up the excuse, I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to eat healthy. I can't do all that. I'll just go down to the street, McDonald's, give me a number 2 with a Coke, a large fry, and a caramel macchiato, whatever you may get on your McDonald's order. I ain't here to judge that or whatever. But just as an example, right? When you are spending so much time trying to work and get the things done that you want to get done, you're going to start to neglect your nutrition too, right? And this can be bad, especially if you're a person who is active and is trying to overall better their nutrition and better their health in general. You want to go to the gym, you want to eat healthier in order to feel better, but you don't have that time in order to do that. So once you create that excuse, you create, a validation or, you just create that excuse in order to blow off eating good and just go down the street to McDonald's, go down the street to Krispy Kreme, go to Burger King, things like that. And like I said with the first point to this, those effects are going to show up, later down the line. Maybe not as quick, depending on, how much you consume, what you consume, things like that. But it's still going to show up later on down the line when you're skipping out on meals, when you're skipping out on eating healthier alternatives in order to produce more workforce. You just get stuff that's quicker and easier to consume and, not spend as much time actually putting into what you're eating, because these quick and cheap alternatives, they're gonna be more than likely not healthy for you. You know what I mean? Those ingredients in there are not gonna be healthy for you. It's overall not gonna be good for your body, and it's overall not gonna be actually nutritious food that's gonna help the body work better, right? But if you're trying to get that work done, if you're trying to get as much work done as you can, you're not going to think about that. And that's another reason of why hustle culture can be negative. Another point is depression, right? Trying to keep up with everything that everybody else is doing. Like I said, you're seeing this on social media. You're seeing this in real life. You're seeing this in the workspace, right? And this can cause depression. And the reason I say this is because you're trying to look at what everybody else is doing and how they're living their life. And then you start to compare yourself. Oh, why am I not living like them? Why am I not? This is a common thing that I see too. Why am I not making 10K in a day, 10K in a month? Something like that. You start to compare yourself because you think that what you're doing is not right. You know what I mean? Or you're starting to think like, what am I doing compared to them that they're doing in order to get to their level of success? And what am I doing that's not working? But you can't do that, because when you start to try to do comparison, you understand that, you know what I mean, nobody is perfect. And at the end of the day, that everybody has their own different path, in life. You know what I mean? It's a quote. I'm pretty sure everybody heard it before, but comparison is the thief of joy, because when you always do that, you can't just have the time to sit back and just, be grateful and just enjoy what you do have in life versus what you don't have in life, right? And you start to get sad, and you wonder why, you can't be at that level, and you're wondering why you can't reach that level. You know what I mean? Why you're not at that level, because you feel like you have to be at that level in order to boost your self-worth and feel better as a person at the end of the day. Another point is this can also cause anxiety, and that could kind of stem into the depression part too, because you feel like you're anxious. Oh my goodness, I had to be a millionaire at 24 years old. I had to be a millionaire at 20. I had to get $1 million as quick as possible. I had to get $1 million in a year. You know what I mean? It causes anxiety, and causes you to be anxious, like I said, because you're viewing and comparing yourself to other people. And like I said, that's just not going to be good for you at the end of the day, because everybody has their own path in life. So I'll put those two together, depression and the anxiety aspect. Now, the last aspect that I had was overthinking, right? And the first notion, another thing, or another bullet point that I have is burnout, right? Now, this is something that I didn't really take out time to get the definition of, but I'm pretty sure everybody can get an overall notion or idea of what burnout is, right? You work, you work, you work, you work, you work, you work. You work so much until the point that you have so much, built up trauma, built up exhaustion, nature like that, right? You build it up so much eventually to where that you just get burnt out. You know what I mean? You have no more to give, and you have no more that you can do in order to try to reach those goals and reach that term or that definition of success that you view as your own definition, right? And that's the overall main thing about it in general of all the effects is burnout. That's what you're most likely going to experience when you try to keep up with hustle culture and try to live by the notion of hustle culture in general, right? Because you're working so much that you don't get time to enjoy life and never wind down and relax. You know what I mean? It's always go, 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 work, 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 do, do, do. You know what I mean? So after a while, you know, you're going to be doing that so much that you have no more to give or put into it, right? Another thing is you're never going to be satisfied because you're always placing your self-worth, like I said earlier. You're always placing your self-worth on on how much that you get done, right? And when you do that, you're never gonna be satisfied. You're never gonna be able to feel fulfillment and just overall wholeness, you know, with trying to, it's those goals and placing, what you get done uh to your overall self-worth, right? But when you place your self-worth on how much that you get done, you're always never going to be satisfied, because if you don't reach those goals, you're going to start to feel, regretful, and you're going to start to, i.e. feel sadness, and depression, stuff like that. It all ties together, and it all comes together as one thing. But I just wanted to specifically break down each one of those into their own definition, or kind of like own little bullet point, right? Now, with all this being said, I know this video is probably very long, but is being productive and aspiring to reach goals negative? No. I put that disclaimer out a little bit earlier, but just to wrap it up and touch on it again, is being productive and aspiring to reach your goals negative? Me personally, I don't think so. I feel like it depends on the person and what you deem as being productive, and what you feel like, whatever your goals um are worthy or not, to you, or to that workspace, or to your family or friends, or who you follow on social media, or social media in general, right? I'm going to leave that to you. That's up to you and what you think. But like I said, me personally, I don't think at the end of the day being productive and aspiring to reach goals is an overall negative thing in general, right? Unless, i.e., it consumes and take over your life, you know, day to day and just in general, right? And like I said, you can have your own definition of productiveness, and laziness. Like I said, that's up to you to deem, and I'm not going to try to put out a definition, because each person has their own different meaning and definition of what they think being productive is and what they think being lazy is, right? And at the end of the day, it's just about having a healthy balance, and just knowing how much work you need to get done, or how much work you should do, and just having also time to relax and just live life in general, at that. So that's what I wanted to come on here and talk about. Leave down in the comment section below if there's anything that I could have touched on better, some things that I missed out that I could have said, and just let me know your overall thoughts and ideas of hustle culture too. Like I said, and how it kills the soul, hustle culture and how it kills the soul. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and that's it.